Okay, No Mercy, NoMercyTV.com. We are here live with the founder of Freedom Fest NYC. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, my name is Shequanda Long, also known as Shea Butter. And I am excited to be here with No Mercy, with you all. And yes, I am the CEO and founder of Juneteenth Freedom Fest NYC. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. So shout out to my bro Hakeem. You know, he was the one that, called me, told me what he had going on, and he was just telling me about this whole grand festival and everything that y'all were doing. And he basically brought me on board to do video for the last day, which was the block party in Harlem. You know, a whole bunch of activities and stuff like that. And I was excited. I was excited to be a part of something that is just bringing the life back into our town. Right. You know, through all the gentrification, with them putting like a Whole Foods on 125th and stuff like that. So you see the aura, you see the aura of Harlem just changing, and then to have something that's for us to be so big and come back to the town, I felt like it was something to definitely be excited about. So I just wanted to bring you on to, give some of your background, give some of your history, and actually explain, everything about, Juneteenth, why y'all brought the Freedom Fest to NYC, as opposed to, doing it down south where it's mostly known for. So let's get into your background. Let's get into, where you're from and everything.
Okay, yes. Shout out to the bro Hakeem. One of my good childhood friends. So I am a Harlemite, born and raised in Harlem, born in Harlem Hospital. Harlem Hospital is known for, deliveries and healing gun wounds. So yeah, I born and raised in Harlem, grew up in colonials or Ralph Ringel projects, back and forth through polo grounds. So, growing up in Uptown, especially Harlem is known as the Black Mecca in the North. Like if you're talking about specifically African American culture, people from around the globe are familiar with the Harlem Renaissance and that type of era. And so we are surrounded by so much Black culture. We can take for granted at times, And so I actually, after I graduated from Randolph Campus High School.
Shout out to Randolph.
Yeah, shout out to Randolph. I attended the University of Buffalo. I don't know if y'all can see my blue flag up there, UB. Let's go Bulls. When I got up to Buffalo, surprisingly, Buffalo's a very Afrocentric city. And I know people are like, oh, it's cold, it's Black people in Buffalo. Yes. And the reason why that's so important is because
I didn't know that.
Right. I didn't know. I was like, they have the degree.
We in the city, we think everything outside the city is just Caucasianville. Like
right. Cows. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. But I went to UB and I come to find Buffalo's very Afrocentric. And what I mean by that is it's a real strong Black history here. A lot of people, when they were escaping slavery from the South, they went up north. And a lot of people think we know that a lot of them made it to Canada, but there were a lot of towns that they stopped to along the way. And Buffalo was one of them. And with that, a lot of our ancestors, they brought their heritage with them, their culture. And so Juneteenth was being celebrated in Buffalo since like the late 60s. And the city shuts down for Juneteenth. My Black friends from Buffalo were like, oh, we're going to Juneteenth. I'm like, okay, something to do. And it was like this. It's this whole weekend celebration. There's a parade. I mean, everything stops. And Black people are like, this is our day. So, here you go, Buffalo. And
I had no idea about any of that.
Yeah, it's huge. It happens in Martin Luther King Park. In the hood is always a Martin Luther King.
Every hood got a Martin Luther King something.
Every hood, but it's a huge park. It's lots of vendors, and it's a great family day. And it's a 2-day event. And people were traveling up from the city to vend at Buffalo's Juneteenth, and it was something so impactful and empowering to see my people just being free in Buffalo. Because don't get me wrong, Buffalo is still very much a Caucasian town. You know, we are still the minority here, but on Juneteenth, that's kind of like, you know, flipped upside down. So I was like, what's going on with that? And my degree is in English. And I have a background, my traditional background is education, but I also have a minor in African American studies. So I was on it. I'm like, what? Let me learn some more. What's going on with Juneteenth? And it started off with taking this information back to my childhood friends like Hakeem and others. I want to give if I can, a really great shout out to my team. It's not just me. It's a team of 9 of us. And it consists of childhood friends, but also people who are experts in their field. Hakeem is our community outreach person, but we also have William Donovan, who's over our marketing. We have Lanisha, who's our governance, making sure all our contracts and everything is in order. We have Melissa Lee, who is our finance director. I mean, this girl works for Ralph Lauren. She's amazing. She graduated from Duke. And we have Adri V, the go-getter, who's a radio personality up in Buffalo. But she's amazing, you know, host for Comedy. She knows like Griselda, like.
So y'all got a squad up there.
Right. So it's Latoya Farmer. I don't want to miss anybody on my team.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned everyone. And Saida Gordon. And Trisha Gannum, my logistics. So there's a whole squad behind us. We all got together and said, let's make this a thing. And when I was attending UB, I was also a member of the Black Student Union. And with the Black Student Union, we did things specifically for the Black students at UB. And so I had that background going, right? And I had my ideas, my wheels were swirling. And I said, let's bring this to New York. Now,
so around when was this that you came up with this idea to do this, to gather everybody and say, hey, I want to bring Juneteenth to New York?
Good question. I was heading there too, so we're on the same page. I actually started having the conversations with my friends from the city late 2018. 2019 is when I actually gathered everybody and formed a committee and formed an actual company, and because we are incorporated. So we were supposed to launch in 2020.
Okay.
And 2020 happened.
Yeah, 2020 definitely happened. Slowed everything down.
Slowed it down. But the amazing thing was, it was this great like awakening and awareness to Juneteenth. So it was like, you know, people wanted something to identify with, to resonate with. We were already fed up with the system and just George Floyd. And so when, you know, that year 2020 happened, we weren't patriotic. We already, you know, felt like July 4th just wasn't our day anyway, but it, you know, hey, we get off and, you know, that's that. But people started bringing that awareness about, because there were other regions like in the South, it's more popular. So they were doing Juneteenth anyway, regardless in 2020. And
so I don't want to cut you off, but before we move further, Juneteenth, let's talk about the history. What's significant about Juneteenth? What is Juneteenth? Let's talk about that.
Right. So Juneteenth is actually short for June 19th. And that is the day, June 19th, 1865 is the day when all Americans became free. Let me back that up for a second. In 1863, that's when the Emancipation Proclamation came about with President Abraham Lincoln. That's when he declared that slavery would be abolished, let everyone go free. 1863, right? And the South, the deep pockets of the South, like Texas, especially Louisiana, but there was still people being used as slave labor, fast forward in 1865. So it took the soldiers to go down and travel. They had to physically travel, and they made it down to Galveston, Texas, with Major Gordon Granger, who said, no, let's free everybody. And he made them aware that they were free. And it took 2.5 years. So they were free 1863, and it wasn't until June 19th, 1865, that they were made aware of their freedom. And that's what we're celebrating, when our people became totally free in this country.
Okay. So, all right, let's get back to you forming a committee. So what makes you say, hey, let's do this in our home? Let's not go where everybody else is doing it. Let's do this up here in Harlem.
Right. Honestly, I just felt like it was something we should have already been doing. You know what I mean? I felt, because again, being from Harlem, we're walking down the same streets where Malcolm X preached, where Adam Clayton Powell was. I went to Randolph, who's named after Asa Philip Randolph, who was all these activists. Then we have the Langston Hughes, the Zora Neale Hurston, just this rich history. Harlem was always been the space where Black people was leading and running, and being that voice for change, and being the voice and advocating for our people. And the unique thing is New York City is a melting pot anyway. So we have a rich Black history. But when I talk about specifically African American, you cannot gloss over Harlem. You can't skip Harlem, right? And so I was like, you know what? We need to do this. Now, I want to say this. I'm not the first Juneteenth to happen in Harlem. There was Juneteenth happening. I know the Mossad, the one of the mosque on 116, shout out to them. They've been hosting and pairing with the African American Day Parade that happens in September. They do a Juneteenth parade, a community parade where people walk down 116 to pay, homage to different businesses and things that's going on. But the problem is with anything that we're doing, is not a heavy publicity behind it. There were small pockets, and there were people that lived in Harlem that still didn't know about that, what I'm talking about, that's happening on 116.
Yeah, because I didn't even know about that.
Right. I'm not the first to do it, but I'm the first to say, let's get the dollars behind it. Let's bring in these businesses and let's shut it down, and let's have our day our way.
Okay. So how does forming this whole celebration, what are the steps? Because this isn't easy. For one, for it to be the first one, and then it's a whole week just full of activities. You said you had a cipher and all of these different things. Yeah. How do you get all of that together? What's the planning like for you?
Well, if you're gonna bring something together, first and foremost, like I said, it's not just me. You have to know your tribe. Get your tribe, get your squad, and have people that's going to be locked in. So that's the first thing. Get reliable people. Yes. You might not be able to work with mama and them on a project like this. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You know what I mean? So I went to my people, my friends, but they were also movers and shakers in their own right. These are not just my friends from around the way. These are people that's already very active. They can work on their own, so I went to the right people. I'm gonna be honest, if I can, I did some praying. I had to seek the Lord's help.
God, look, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
You know what I'm saying? Pray and be focused. And I will say this, any leader, you have to be outcome driven. Outcome driven. Be focused on the result that you're looking for. You can't get caught up in how it's going to happen, because those parts and pieces will change and move. But as long as you know this is the vision, this is what we want to get to, you'll be fine. So it started off with that, picking the right people, and then coming and staying focused on the end result. And so once we had that goal, the vision, and the mission already locked in, then we were able to focus on the smaller parts. So what's dope
about that? It's kind of like because I do deal with battle rap, and I also run a battle rap platform.
Right.
Me and my partner, we have the exact same mindset when it comes to that. We're not worried about all of the small stuff in the middle and the different politics and stuff. We're worried about what we want to happen at the end of all of this. So at the end of when we finish an event, when we put out our footage, et cetera, we're worried about what's going to come from all of that. Everything in between is just okay, we got to soldier through it, but we're soldiering through it for the long-term goal and for the outcome of everything. So I completely understand that 1,000%.
Right. And I noticed that about all leaders. Just stick and stay focused on the outcome, because a lot of times how you may be trying to do it, if you got to switch it up, it's actually better. Plan B or plan C might work out even better to get you to that end result. So that's how it really started.
Okay. So what were the conversations like in terms of like, who were the different people you had to talk to? And I'm pretty sure there's like permits and things of that nature, people within the community that you have to talk to in order to even get something like this going.
Absolutely. So when we first started off, we said, okay, 2020 is a wrap. We can't launch. We want to be safe. And that was one of the things that we were very strategic about. Our community, you know what I mean? We're going to be safe. Our community was being hit hard. When I'm talking about our community, I'm talking about the Black and brown community was hit hard with COVID. We lost a lot of elders. We lost a lot of young people. So we were like, no, we want to be safe. We knew people were out there already rallying, but we were like, we're not going to do that. So we wanted to do it in person, but we couldn't. So we had to commit to virtual. We were out speaking and calling, being fearless. You know what I mean? Speaking to people, companies, getting their dollars to back us. Shout out to our amazing sponsors. We had M&T. They were behind us, M&T Bank. They were like, no, we already know the cause. And it wasn't feeling like, we're just jumping on the bandwagon. We need Black dollars. It was like a genuine conversation with Mr. Troy, who I spoke to. And we were very strategic about our partnerships. So
it's not just about the people that's throwing the most money. It's about something that matches the agenda.
Exactly. That's what it was about for us, because we were looking at building long-lasting strategic partnerships, not just about, okay, I put my name behind this on one year and everybody see, Juneteenth, because it's the latest trend. We want people that when we come to them and say, hey, here's something else we need fulfilled in the community, they're going to say, yes, this is what we want to back. And so we spoke to people, even our streaming platform, we streamed with a Black-owned streaming company, Lunch Table. We didn't, we could have went with we could have just Facebook Live ourselves, but we wanted that media partner to be with them. And shout out to Lunch Table. They're based out in California, but completely Black owned and run. And that was very strategic and just, it was all purposeful. We wanted to do things with a purpose. And so we hit up different people. I want to shout out Revolt TV. Because we got in front of their CEO. And he's like, listen, I like what you guys are talking about. The CEO, it wasn't Diddy. It wasn't Diddy, guys.
Yo, you say Revolt, that's the first thing people think about. Diddy.
Right. The CEO, the current CEO is Mr. Datavio, and he's amazing. Young Black man doing his thing, okay? And he listened to us. He steered us in the right direction. And kind of got us and it helped us to get in front of just in terms of being more clear on what we wanted to do. Okay. So we had a lot of help from a lot of, like they say in the community, aunties and uncles, a lot of Black people just helping us, pushing us along the way. But we called. I was not afraid to call. I called up those large companies and we asked for their money. And we did not stop until we got some. So we had the virtual already locked in. Now, here's the thing, No Mercy. We were fully locked in with virtual. That's why we still had we ended up having a week-long planning. New York City, the mayor's office contacted us on May 5th. It was a gentleman, shout out to Mr. Isaiah Jenkins, who was the current director for the borough of Manhattan.
Okay.
So any community activity that happens in Manhattan goes through him. He said, hey, we heard about what you were doing through Mr. Derek Perkison. Derek Perkison was our virtual keynote speaker, and he's under the National Action Network, which is under Reverend Al Sharpton. So it was just a lot of that. Like, hey, these are what these kids are doing. Y'all need to look into it. And so Isaiah Jenkins, the Borough of Manhattan director, contacted us on May 5th, and it gave us about 6 weeks to say let's get this happening. And that's how we ended up having an in-person event. Yeah, he said, what do you guys need? And we were ready. Want to give that quick little tidbit to y'all. Be ready.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. But we were ready. We, like I said before, right? Outcome driven. Not how. So we had the vision, the mission. So when he said, if y'all need to do it in person, what y'all need, we said, here it is. Have it already.
Okay. So y'all was on it.
Yeah. We were on it. And we continued to push forward and get those, of course, there were perks working with the mayor's office, but we were able to get those community partners like Harlem Children's Zone that provided all of the kiddie activities. And we partnered with NYCHA that was able to make sure we had the space where we shut down 129th Street between 7th and 8th. And you were there.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing to see that. And people don't know we put that together in 6 weeks.
That's incredible. That was definitely great work for 6 weeks. Yeah.
And to see out there, it was amazing.
So, all right, because it wasn't just that one day, it was a whole week.
Yes.
So let's talk about the whole week and what each day had going on.
Okay. So the week started on Sunday, June 13th. And it aired on Lunch Table 6 p.m. nightly. So from Sunday the 13th through Friday the 18th, it was virtual components, right? So on Sunday, we kicked it off with the Black National Anthem, or Lift Every Voice Is Sang, by incredible vocalist Brianna Denise. And then we had Mr. Derek Perkinson from the National Action Network go ahead and say some encouraging words. I myself opened up. And that was the first day. Then the second day was Monday. We had so each day had like a educational piece where we had a panel or we had a workshop, and then we had some entertainment. And so we had our host, Miss Adri V, the go-getter, as well as an up-and-coming rapper, Mr. Kata King, who's from Queens. And we had our host. And then so on Monday we had a workshop that was led by Miss Olivia Price. Incredible. She's the marketing queen. Anything you want to know about how to get we actually went to her when we wanted to get sponsors. She literally just shows businesses how to get Fortune 500 companies to stand behind your business. She shows you how to build capital. That's all she does.
That's somebody I need to talk to.
You need Miss Olivia Price of Ultimate Brand Marketing, the marketing queen. She's incredible. Everyone, they were like, wow, this is really good.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we had our Unity Cypher where we had rappers from representing each borough. Unfortunately, this year we couldn't get the Bronx. I couldn't find a Bronx rapper, but we want to keep that going every year.
Wow. And you know what's crazy? I got somebody from the Bronx that does music too.
Yeah, listen, we want to
got you next year. Trust me.
We want to keep it going because it was so dope. And like I said, the streaming platform is based in California. So the New York rappers, they really they brought back that New York sound. And they got a chance to talk about some real stuff, not just I got my chain and I got my girls. They talk about what they wanted to talk about. And that was incredible. That's just Monday. Then we had Tuesday. We had the panels where we talked about Black love. We had Mr. Eton Thompson, the former NBA Atlanta Hawks player, and his wife on that panel. And then we had the dancers, where Mr. Elijah Coleman was a choreographer. Just different things that we did. We also had a workshop where we talked about CBD, and we gave free CBD cooking classes.
Okay. I mean, it's starting to be legal everywhere now, so it's like, why not?
Right. So they answered those questions, and then they showed you how to infuse your food. Okay. And we just had a ton of
that soul food on Thanksgiving about to be different.
It's about to get real different. Thanksgiving in 2021 about to be a little different.
Man.
Take your camcorders out. because it's going to be a good time.
Okay. So, all right. So we get to the actual block party itself.
Yes.
129th between 7th and 8th, right in the middle of St. Nick Projects. Now, I was surprised when I seen it because I'm like, okay, I know what type time it is over here. How is this gonna go? And for it to go off without any as much as an incident or anything like that. I think there was like a small little something, real little something.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the day was amazing. So what was your thoughts going into it, in terms of that whole aspect of it?
Right. Well, like I'm a colonial girl from Polo Ground. I wasn't scared.
Of course.
But all jokes aside, because we did have a lot of people from a little bit of every part of Harlem, and everywhere, coming in. So I wanted people to be comfortable. But I think for me, I wanted to show our community. Like, look what we this is us. We are a community. We can be unified. And I got a chance to show the world because we had a lot of press out there to say Harlem can unify. Black people can unify. We can have our day and we can celebrate each other and love on each other. And I think that's what the community wanted. I think that's what it needed. And I think the community was ready for that, to say, listen, yeah, we got our dysfunctions like any other community.
Of course.
That was important for me because our dysfunctions are always highlighted. But now we have a time to show people, listen, we already know we in St. Nick. We already know it's people coming over here that might not even get necessarily rock with St. Nick. But at the end of the day, this is about us having our day, our way, celebrating our ancestors' freedom, still working towards that said freedom, and being able to show the world, listen, we can do this. We can do this. And I think it was something, it was just so, like you were there, so you saw that, you felt the vibes, you felt the energy. It was something just, I can't put into words about it. It's like a giant family reunion type vibe. You know what I mean? Everybody was on the same time. I haven't felt that way since Obama won. When I was at the state building when Obama was elected, and it was that same type of feeling, like that warm feeling. It's like we here, we together, and we're not gonna have that type of mess today. And it just was such a good time. Everybody really enjoyed it. The community is still talking about it. So
it was definitely great. From what I remember from being there, it was just great hospitality. Wasn't no attitude. Everybody was there to have fun. Even being in the middle of the projects where y'all had the vendors and everything, that was a great setup. What made you do that in terms of like just having that whole setup inside the projects and everything like that?
Well, if I could be quite honest, that was just that wasn't totally on purpose. It was, actually, we had a lot of, like, with COVID still kind of like going away, we had some permitting issues where the permits didn't allow for the vendors to be on the street. But a big part of Juneteenth, and because Juneteenth has its own traditions, and we can get into that a little bit later if you want. But one of the big things for Juneteenth is to buy Black. So I knew I wanted to have local vendors. And with the type of street permit we had, we couldn't have vendors on the street. And I said, no, there's no way I'm going to have this day go by without local vendors. And so that's what, our partnership with NYC, they were like, listen, we'll clean it up. We'll do everything. We'll clear that space. We had a little DJ in that area. The elders it was shaded. So they didn't want to be on the street with a lot of sun. So they were out there enjoying the vibes and the mood. And so, the vendors themselves, they were enjoying it too. They were, it was nobody was messing with them. It wasn't like they were worried about their safety or anything like that. And the community appreciated it. One of the things we have to remember, we're going into the community to serve them. We can't be afraid of the community.
Of course.
We show the community love. They're going to show us love. And so that came about from that. But once we said we were going to have them actually sat in the middle of St. Nick. We said, let's just make it its own kind of courtyard, its own thing. So we brought in the DJ. We had the other spaces there. Now for the fact we ended up moving them a little bit later so that, it just wasn't later on. It just wasn't enough foot traffic, but the vendors all enjoyed it. And I had some amazing vendors this year. I can't wait to see who we have next year.
Okay. So you also had a showcase, music showcase there. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the artists that were there and the performances and everything like that.
Yes. Before we go there, I do want to give a quick shout out. These are people that were there but wasn't on the stage. Miss Carolyn, she led an amazing drum circle. I don't know if you got a chance to witness that. They were like in the middle of the street.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was about maybe like 5 or 6 of them.
Right. The drum circle, and then we also had Cups and Convos, who was also one of our amazing sponsors. But Cups and Convos, there's some cool brothers from Brooklyn, and they had all the adult games. So they host the largest adult game night in the world. Have to be for Brooklyn, and they had like all the setups with the large chess pieces and the games and all of that stuff was out there. So that stuff was amazing. Now, showcase again, I wanted to rock with local artists, people that were from the city or currently live in the city. So we had Descendant rocking the mic. Descendant lives in the Bronx, but I think he's by way of Virginia, but he's been out here for a while. Yeah, Descendant. He was one of our MCs for our cypher. We also had Bino representing Queens Village. She did her thing. Who else? We had Trumpetessa. She was literally a trumpeter, and she was amazing. I believe she's from Manhattan. And we had team, the A-Star team, the dancers. They were the first.
They were amazing.
They were so amazing. And then we had, who else did we have? We closed out with Team Too Crafty from Harlem. Okay. And they closed out the show. Those are the when the little girls jumped out of the box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Team Too Crafty. Shout out to them. Their founders, a young girl, Jada. She's only about 15, 16. Salute to the young CEO, Jada, but she was amazing. And everybody. Oh, we had another young man. Oh, I feel so. We had another amazing young man. I can't remember his name. But he was just from the community. He was there at the festival. He said, "Can I grace the stage?" And we're like, "Yeah, that's what it's about." He got on there. I can't remember his name.
Guitar? Guitar?
Yes, guitar.
Cavion Savio.
Yes, Cavion Savio. I'm talking about another guy who was rapping, but he was so good. I can't remember because I was there
for the rap performance.
He had on gray. Oh Lord.
I'm pretty sure he might run into this and he'll remind us.
Yes, but he was amazing. And that's what it's about, just having people to put on. I want to say True Woo from 155th, shout out to him. He was a part of our cypher, our virtual cypher. So yeah, I'm looking to put on more homegrown artists the further that we continue with our annual events.
Okay, so overall, how were you feeling? What was the feedback in terms of the people about the whole event? Like, what was the general consensus? What were people feeling about it? Like, how did they feel afterwards?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, and I was nervous about this because Harlem is tough. New York City is tough, but overall, honestly, I've gotten nothing but great feedback. And these are from people that didn't know me, didn't know us. They were just on our page, on our social medias, rating us, saying that they were so happy to have Juneteenth actually come to their community. They're looking forward to it. And again, our partners are too. Harlem Children's Zone, the National Action Network, other companies are hitting me up now. Like, how can we make it even better? So overall, we got a lot of great feedback, and I'm gonna put you on the spot because we are live. What was your opinion of it? This is my baby side, but I really want to know. I want to know how to improve and just get better What was your
Me personally, I had a great time there. Like, even though I was on work mode, and you know, when I'm on work mode, I'm focused. Like, I got my camera in hand, I got to get my shots. But overall, I just enjoyed the vibe. You know, the hospitality, the people wanting to get on camera. Hey, bring the camera over here. I want to say a couple words, and you know, stuff like that. So for me, I definitely enjoyed it. I didn't have not one complaint about it. You know, it to me, it looked like the beginning of something that can be even bigger. Like, I would hope one day we could shut down every block in Harlem, and you know, it just be a whole huge celebration of just freedom and, you know, everything that y'all want to represent. So I thought it was definitely a great party overall, great celebration.
Thank you so much. And that, honestly, that is that's the feedback that I'm getting. And it was I don't know this young man's name now. Now this is just somebody who's attending the event. And I was kind of going around getting some footage for our live, for our IG. And I'm like, hey, how you enjoying everything? He was buying from the vendors, and he just was like, he was looking for this, like, you know, to do Juneteenth. He was from Harlem. And I'm like, hey, I'm the founder. I'm so glad that you're having a good time. And people were taking pictures with me. Like, I'm like, you know, I'm just a girl, a roundaway girl that's making sure that we just have a good time and have a safe space to be us, to be dope, to be magical, to be everything that Black people are. And I think it was so amazing to see our people have something that they could really get behind. You know what I mean?
And you know, another thing I want to point out too, because, you know, we're used to going to functions, parties. We know this is the social media era where people be at functions and be on the wall and just on their phone. There wasn't none of that here. Like, if people were recording for like their Instagram stories, they would do that, and then they were back to having fun.
Right. People dancing. Shout out to Soul Electronics. We gave out some great prizes, and I don't know if you were there when we had a trivia game for the culture. People really enjoyed that. They got up on stage, and we asked them some questions. It was hosted by my brother AJ Foster, who's an up-and-coming comedian. He's doing his thing. He's been featured on so many different things. He's currently now on LOL Network with Kevin Hart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's from the Bronx. We went to Randall together, but he's like, it was such a good time. He wasn't even really ready to go. You know, we were dancing in the street. But Soul Electrons, we gave out some prizes. People were dancing and just having fun. That's what we wanted. So we're so happy with how everything turned out.
Okay. And then that's definitely great to hear. You know, it's nothing better than that first event just going well, being something that everybody is looking forward to. Now, what I do want to ask is, okay, I know this is going forward is going to be a yearly thing, of course.
Absolutely. It's annual. We always plan to be annual. Yes.
Okay. So what would be the plan to keep just the brand active throughout the year in between Juneteenth events? Like, what's going to be the move to just, like, you know, push it out there and just keep awareness and everything like that?
Absolutely. So one of the things we're working on now, Juneteenth, the actual Freedom Fest, it'll live in its own space. It'll be its own thing. But we have a company, and I can't reveal the name right now because the paperwork ain't signed. But throughout the year, we are a company with a conscience. So we have panels, workshops, things that we'll be doing throughout the year. Like this past year, 2020, we did a lot of like clubhouse, you know, town halls, having safe spaces for people to talk. So throughout the year, we'll be doing workshop for adults, workshop for children, building that awareness of Juneteenth. But we also will have the fun events too. So we're looking at galas, we're looking at the brunches, we're looking at getting together, doing some more work with cups and convos, like we talked about, like game nights, stuff like that, just so people can be aware of our brand, because essentially we are an events company, but we are culturally biased events company. We do things specifically for our people, and we're okay with living in just that space. But there's other things we'll be doing, community services. We're still working with our partners like Harlem Children's Zone. We've also been in the talks with Success Academy out in Harlem as well. And so looking for ways that we can service the community throughout the years will mean more so like workshops, community services, and things that we can do to further educate people about Juneteenth.
Okay. I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that. This is definitely something that I feel like within the next 5 to 10 years is going to be such a big deal. Is going to be everywhere, and you're going to just have people excited for just every Juneteenth to just come out and celebrate with y'all. So I'm liking what I'm hearing so far.
Thank you so much. Listen, if y'all watching and y'all didn't come, as you can see, I'm not just hyping it up. You heard it from the man himself. No mercy. Next year we're gonna have some surprises for y'all. It's gonna be fun.
And I will be there next year as well.
Yeah.
So here's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. In terms of Juneteenth being a federal holiday now, how do you feel about that? Because I know there's been a lot of talk. You got some people who have different opinions on it. Yeah. So what's your whole thought about it?
Yeah. Well, you know, me being the Harlem Juneteenth queen, obviously I'm in favor of Juneteenth. But here's what I want to say. From experiencing Juneteenth, you know, in other places, like Buffalo and other regions, I know people, and I get it. Because, you know, now is the hashtag now, and you see the memes. We didn't ask Juneteenth to be a holiday. But what they need to understand is that we literally were asking for Juneteenth to be the holiday because it was one of the longest running and oldest holidays specifically for African Americans. You know what I mean? And something that is not just regional. And so we have been asking and lobbying for it to be a holiday. And so I would say the fight still must continue. You know, just because it's a holiday doesn't mean that we're, and me, myself, my people, we are going to be on the front lines throughout the year still talking about reparations. That's one of the things we're in the works. I don't know if you're familiar with D12 or the December 12 movement.
I've heard about it. I'm not too familiar with it, though.
Yes, they have been on the front lines for the African American community in New York for as long as I've been alive. I'm in my 30s. They were behind the Exonerated Five. They were the ones that got them out.
Oh, okay. Yes. Wow.
Yes. They're the ones that shut down 125th every year for Malcolm X's birthday. That's December 12th. And so working with them, because they're pushing reparations. And so we want to get this out. So no, we understand that there's still freedom. We're free-ish. There's still work to be done to work towards the freedom. But there's nothing wrong with still having a day set aside where we commemorate and celebrate us. You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong. So I just want to remind everybody, Black people, brown people, we can have both. We can have a day where we let's just relax. Let's have a cool time. This is family time. This is for us to celebrate us and put our highlights in the forefront. And then after we have our day, still pick it up. You know what I mean? Because it's so heavy. It's so heavy. It's heavy. 365, 24/7.
Yeah, we can't take the skin color off.
Right. But it's nothing wrong for just having a day where we could just relax and be ourselves. Especially you hit on it a little bit, No Mercy, when you talked about the gentrification. Yeah. That's another big part. We want to have a day that we preserve. No, this is us, and we preserve our culture through pushing it in the forefront and still having that fight and talking about reparations. So for me, I don't think that having Juneteenth as a federal holiday takes away from that. I think it helps to push us forward in that, because with it being recognized as the holiday, now we can, go forth and talk about the history behind it, continue to push, what the contributions of our people have been. And this is how we can still make things better moving forward.
Okay. Well, shit, I like the sound of that. Is there anything else you want to leave the people with before we get up off here? Because I felt like you really did a great job of just, giving your background, explaining the importance of Juneteenth, and just, giving the people something exciting to look forward to. So is there anything else you want to leave the people with?
No, I do want to say, guys, we need to get our followers up. So please follow us on IG and Facebook, Juneteenth Freedom Fest NYC.
I don't know if you can see it, but I put it on the banner.
Yes, I did see it. And I want you guys, when y'all see this, to follow us, like our pages, because on our IG and our Facebook, of course, and we're going to be starting on YouTube and having our content on there, but you'll be able to see and keep up with the things that we're doing, the announcements that we make throughout the year, what we'll be doing. And we want to hear from you guys, because our main focus too is to serve our community. So if there's something that you think we should be doing in the community, if we want to have a rally, if we need to have a town hall, if we need to have a safe space, we have the resources, we have the connections to bring that straight to the community. So follow us, like us. You can also check out our website, NYCFreedomFest.com, where you can register for any of our free events that we'll be having in any of our dope events we'll be having throughout the year.
Okay. So, I mean, that's it. You know, you done gave them the social media and everything. I appreciate you coming on the platform. You know, shout out to my bro Hakeem, man, for real. Like, that's, like I said, day one since like pre-K. So, you know, anything he got going on, I'm 1,000% behind, you know. So once he brought me on board, I felt like it was definitely something that I wanted to be a part of. And, you know, we just gonna make the dream work from here.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. We are so excited. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for rocking out with us.
No problem. And that was Juneteenth Freedom Fest. Make sure y'all stay tuned for all the events coming up, and we'll be at y'all soon. No Mercy, NoMercyTV.com. I'll see y'all soon.